National Chairman of the ruling party, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, and the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, insisted that there is no vacancy in Aso Rock in 2027. Joining us on the morning show to discuss the Northwest adoption of President Tinubu as sole candidate is Kenneth Okonkwo, a lawyer and spokesperson for the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election. Welcome to the morning show, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, viewers, for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Bati. Thank you, Rufai. And thank you, Vimbai. I don't want you to laugh too much today, so I would not ask you to be our young Nigerian wife.
Anyway, very quickly. Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, the chairman of the APC, had told us previously that 2027 is a done deal. And we've seen a gale of defections. Now, the North, that people used to say, oh, Northerners have rejected Tinubu. Now we have the governors of the Northwest, the senators, the lawmakers from the Northwest, all of them saying there is no vacancy in Aso Rock in 2027. So maybe Ganduje is right then to have said that 2027 is a done deal for the APC. What do you think?
Well, let's first of all commence this program by reminding us what Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said everyone must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. Our leaders, they are now very known worldwide for making a decision to walk in the darkness of destructive selfishness. You can imagine a people that are consumed by insecurity. This morning, 15 persons have been killed in Agatu, local government of Benue State. In Northwest, they have become a basket case, have the highest number of out-of-school children. They are the poorest. And then, what people busy themselves to do is to be talking about an election that is 2 years from now. Let me tell you, those sycophants that you saw there, they're not up to 1,000. All the political leaders in the Northwest, they're not up to 1,000. The population of Northwest in Nigeria is about 67 million persons. About more than 60 million persons. About 27% of the entire Nigerian population. Democracy is the government of the people, not the government of APC or some sycophants in the Northwest who are not interested in the welfare and security of their people, but in how to acquire power and money. It is shameful. We are not even up to 2 years of this regime, and people are consumed about who will be the next president in the next election. I tell you honestly, I feel disgusted. But like I said, they've made a choice to be walking in the darkness, pure darkness of destructive selfishness. These are people that steal what they don't even need. Let me give you an example of what I'm trying to say. If you recall, in Delta State, you saw how a drama went on there. Official defection to APC. In that podium that was in Delta State, you will see men who have been convicted by Supreme Court for bribery and corruption in dollars in the name of integrity. You will see men that have been known to be pocketing dollar in their danchiki openly, looking at whether anybody is seeing them. Those same people are still being called by their states to give account of their stewardship as governor. And they are evading by all means unknown to go and answer for what they have done. Their surname is now classified as dollar. And you saw some people there who are invited by EFCC to give account. So there you are seeing association of professional criminals made up of suspects, made up of accused, made up of convicts. These are facts. Are these people the people you think that will give you light of creative altruism? I have now known the philosophy of APC. In Delta State, their spokesperson came out and mentioned the ideology. They say they are taste of palm wine politicians. And let me tell you something about palm wine. My father was a traditional chief and had a DOC, a palm wine tapper, that brings palm wine for him in the morning every day. The one that the bottom has not reached the ground. Always swell. And that palm wine, if you don't refrigerate it, it can change taste more than 20 times in a day. And if you allow it to stay a day or two, it will be so strong you can use it to make local gin, kai kai. So these are politicians that are unstable like water. I guarantee you that a lot of them will work even for the opposition come in the next 2 years because they are taste of palm wine politicians. They say when the taste of palm wine changes, they also change. So you are talking about chameleon.
Okay.
Who work.
All right, Mr. Okonkwo, I know today we don't have that much time with you, so I just want to step in at this point. I was reading an article, an interview granted by a senator who just defected from NNPP to APC. And in his estimation, he says, there are no parties, there are no ideologies, it's just the alphabet. The only thing that differentiates the political parties in Nigeria are letters of the alphabet. Now, in this instance, you're somebody who has come from Labour Party. We see the issues happening inside Labour Party. There's APC, which is now being accused of dangling the carrot, offering contracts and all sorts of juicy goodies for people to come and defect. There's PDP, which has its own issues. What's the way forward? Because it seems that all of the political parties are made up of the same people who, as you have called them, are palm wine drinkers who change drinking pattern several times of the day. What's the way forward for the Nigerian citizen?
You know, like I said, I wanted to conclude on the fact that the election in the Northwest is going to be determined by 60 million persons, not by 1,000 sycophants. The way forward is very simple. You have known that I got disgusted with what even the opposition parties are doing. But thank God, the election of 2027 is going to be between the people of Nigeria and the ruling party, because democracy is the government of the people. The way forward is that there is a need. You know, there is a saying that your biggest teacher is your last mistake. In 2023, the opposition made the mistake of dividing themselves, and then a minority party that got about 37% of the vote now became a ruling party. And you can see the destruction they are making. The way forward is that the opposition should come together in a coalition. And when they come together, they will give Nigerians the alternative in integrity, in character, in learning, in knowledge. And I'm telling you, Nigerians will speak. And Nigerians must remember that in Nigeria today, when you vote, you have to defend your vote. So Nigerians must come together. The opposition must come together, set their house in order, and then take out this government that has become a scourge on the Nigerian people.
Okay, I'd like to ask you this. The Punch newspaper ran with a story today that some people are saying Atiku wants to give Peter Obi a running mate ticket for a one-term presidency. What's your take on Atiku and such arrangements like that? Anyway, Atiku camp offers Obi VP role in a one-term deal. What's your take on things like that? Secondly, you say parties have ideology. Can you tell me the ideology of the Labour Party that you were part of? Because, take for instance, I'll give you an instance. Labour is supposed to be pro-workers. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party was a proper capitalist to the core. There was a diversion of ideology in terms of who Peter Obi was and what is supposed to be the Labour Party ideology. So tell me, and I asked this question to Peter Obi many times, Tell me what's the ideology of the Labour Party. Because if a capitalist, par excellence, is running on a Labour Party that believes in workers' rights, are very social in its outlook, then there's a diversion of ideology. So tell me what the ideology of Labour Party is, and tell me what you think about this Atiku Abubakar, saying he wants to offer Peter Obi a deal, VP, for a one-term deal.
Well, you see, in politics, candidates have the choice to get into their own discussion and negotiation. But for me, my own take is that whoever believes that he's qualified to be president should submit himself for a free and fair primary election. That toughness that we're going to face in the primary will determine the person that has the capacity to face the tough challenge in the general election. I am not in the league of people trying to persuade anybody to step down for anybody. That should be the decision of the candidate himself, because I wouldn't want anybody to come out and say, I'm leaving this coalition or this party because I was pressured to give up my ambition. I wouldn't have loved to be this or that. So whatever Atiku or Obi are discussing should be left for them. But for me, whoever wants to contest for the presidency should submit himself and contest for the presidency and let the people decide. That's what I'm going to say on that.
Okay.
Now,
the Labour Party ideology question I ask you, please. What's the Labour? Yeah.
Yes, the Labour Party ideology. Remember, it's a workers' party. And so it is to build a new Nigerian personality that is altruistic, that is transparent and committed to due process of law in all spheres of our economy, that will care for the security and welfare of workers. And I'm talking about Labour Party. Remember, the politicians entered into Labour Party almost 3 months before the time. So whether they would have integrated their own ideologies is something only God knows, because it's only God that knows what ought to have been or what would have been.
Okay,
so that's history now.
Very quickly.
And that is about the best I can say on that.
Okay, very quickly. As we begin to...
and I told you already the ideology of APC, taste of palm wine politics. They said it themselves.
Okay, just by way of clarification, in less than 1 minute. Now, where do you now stand in the political equation? You say you have left Labour Party. You don't agree with opposition coalition politics. I thought you would even come here this morning and praise President Tinubu and say, it's good that the Northwest has endorsed him. But, you took a different tack. So where are you now in terms of this political game? Or you have left politics to just be a critic? You have joined us on this side. Where are you?
Well, I told you that Northwest has not endorsed Tinubu. As a matter of fact, it's even only politicians of APC, so which they are not up to 1,000 persons. So that is, by the way, I told you Northwest is 60 million persons.
No,
so they have
your own
endorsed
politics.
Tinubu.
Your own politics. Where are you now? Where are you now?
My own politics, I told you I am a member of the coalition. We have not chosen officially a platform. We are talking, and I am part of the talks. And when we choose a platform, which might not be too long from now, we will inform Nigerians. I told you when I leave a party, it is because of the party itself, not because of another party. So when I leave a party, I go into negotiation because I have to be sure of which people and which party is interested in the security and welfare of Nigerians. You have to assure me, and I have to know the people I am going to enter into such party with. And when I get all those answers clear, when I tell Nigerians this is the way to go, they will believe me. Because in all honesty, we need a new thing. We may not go back to change the beginning, but we can start from where we are today and change the ending.
Okay, on that note.
I am part of the coalition. I said it, and I mean it. And
Labour Party won the election at the governorship level and the presidential level. It was also attested by the former deputy, I think, chairman of APC South during his interview or discussion with Dr. Pato Tommy recently on a radio station. So yeah, we know you won the election, but we give you whatever we felt like. So this idea of allotting figures to political parties, we accepted it because we were not ready for it. We did not expect the kind of shenanigan that went on during the election. We're better prepared now.
Yeah, but I wanted you to talk about the defection.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Basically, it's we have harlots of Jericho in Delta State. Harlots of Jericho, people who will use their positions to invite foreigners to invade them and occupy the territory. But we know better. They are protecting their loot. Delta State, over the past how many years of democracy, has been bedeviled by inept leadership. We all know it, and we've been crying out. Unfortunately, we have a situation where there's hunger in the land. It has been weaponized. But we are trying as much as possible to let the people know that despite these defections, their lot will not be better if they keep following those characters that I call harlots of Jericho. It's not going to affect anything. One, I do agree with Ezeago for once, that there'll be serious implosion. Look at the characters that have defected for personal interest. All of them without exception. If you talk about Delta North, it's going to be worse because those defecting are all gunning for the same positions. I wonder how it's going to pan out. So let them go. We're waiting for them. It's not going to affect anything. The fortunes of Labour will be better enhanced by their defection.
Okay, a number of issues to unpack here. The first being, I'd love to know what the status of Labour Party in Delta State is currently. It's been almost 2 years, well, over 2 years, excuse me, since the presidential election. And of course, we know that Labour Party had a moment, but that many people call the Peter Obi effect. However, since then, so many things have happened within your party, especially at a national level. Does Labour Party Delta State, are you behind Abure? Are you behind Nenadi? I'd love to know from you, which way is Labour Party in Delta State inclined? And how are you looking for ways to reconcile those wins that you saw during the presidential election that didn't materialize during the gubernatorial election? Is there any way you think you can reclaim the disparity that happened there in your favor?
There is something that people are talking about generally now about Labour Party. In Delta State, we believe that Peter Obi's presidential ambition was given birth in Delta State. The umbilical cord of the obedient movement is buried in Asaba. So we don't even reckon with Labour Party as a party at the moment in Delta State. In answer to your question, we see
obedience in Delta
absolutely,
State. You're not Labour
absolutely,
Party
absolutely. So we look at the situation. We interact with some of them. They are our friends, but we know that most of them are agents of people who believe that money buys everything. Recently, we saw somebody called Julius Abure calling on the president to intervene in Labour Party affair. For God's sake, what does he want the president to do? You're calling a lion to come and interfere in the affairs of sheep. It's not going to work. So we just discountenance them. What is happening in this country is lack of intrepidity in the handling of judicial matters by the courts. The Supreme Court gave a judgment. They did not go fully to the end. You say that Julius Abure's tenure has expired. What does that imply? If his tenure has expired, the Constitution of Labour Party, NEC, says that the highest ranking officer becomes the head of NEC. And the highest ranking officer in Labour Party today is the governor of Abia State, followed by his deputy, the leadership of NLC and TUC. They form the NEC, and they should take decisions. But we know how justice is procured in this country. I'm not going to dwell on that now. But we are working. We're not deterred. We are working. And at the appropriate time, when the whistle is blown, we shall know who controls Delta State.
Well, it would be interesting to hear a bit of your plans, because against the backdrop of what we're discussing really is a really shifting political landscape. It seems with every moment the APC continues to get stronger and stronger, aided by these defections from the PDP. Yesterday we've spoken at length about the People's Democratic Party, and the analogy was given that they're in intensive care. It's a very, very dire situation for the party. But for Labour Party, it does seem as though you're somewhat shielded from this defections issue on scale. But if you're looking ahead to the future, to 2027, what plans do you have in place to really be the formidable opposition that the PDP is so far struggling to do?
But I'm going to a football match against an opponent, and you want me to come and expose my tactics to play football match with my opponent. It doesn't happen. I'm not here to come and tell you our strategy, but we are planning.
What about your team? That's not your strategy. Who are your team?
Very strong, very strong. I can tell you
Who's up front for you?
We have obedience in Delta State that is ready to overwhelm any political party. I say it categorically. The obedient movement in Delta State will, not can, will overwhelm the merger of PDP and APC. Those people are slogan-based political parties.
Okay, Diopam, just before we go, you've been saying you have obedience in Delta State that will overwhelm any party. Well, obedience, that is not the title of any political party in the country. So can you tell us the difference between obedience and the Labour Party? Because you can only vie for an elective position on the platform of a political party. Or is obedience specially registered as a political party in Delta State?
You're falling back to what she asked me now to tell the strategy we're going to use. Obedience is not a political. Dr. Bati, you're too intelligent to try and catch me that way now. You're a lawyer. You know, let me tell you, obedience is a movement. You understand? And anywhere we go, we'll overwhelm them. It's like a weevil. You know how a weevil comes to a farm and overtakes it and overwhelms it? We are waiting for the president of NLC, Joe Ajero, has written to INEC, giving them timeline to use the Supreme Court's judgment to determine, we're law-abiding people, the leadership of Labour Party. That will determine the obedient movement. And within 48, is it? I don't know, 28 days he gave them. And when that happens, you will hear from us, and then our strategy will be known to you. Until then, we'll keep it quiet.
Okay, thank you for joining us. But one major takeaway for me, the phrase you use, the harlots from Jericho in Delta State. When I use that phrase another time,
Quote me.
Please, they should know that.
Assessing that democracy is freedom of speech, and the fact that you can sit here and criticize the government and be quite, forceful in your criticism, forthright, that is a manifestation of at least a measure of democracy.
Charles, I can tell you that even me is being harassed every day. There's no freedom of speech. And you know that yourself, Charles. And I can tell you, and there's so many people who are being detained in one place or the other because they've made one statement or anything.
Well, I haven't been harassed, to be fair. But
yes, yes, maybe you've not been, but I have been.
Well, that's unfortunate.
So I can tell you that even that doesn't exist. But when you say, yes, he exists, Charles, when you go for an exam and you score 10%, it's a fail. I'm just giving you the real measure of democracy. We failed in all of them. So it doesn't exist.
So having expressed this alarm, what do you anticipate to be the negative consequences of that threat to democracy that you talk about? What track is Nigeria heading towards as a result, and how damaging might that be? And how would you suggest Nigerians go about counteracting that?
Well, for me, we're headed, you know where we're headed. It will get worse. And when it gets worse, we're now going to threaten to a state of nature, of anarchy, where anybody can do anything you want. Everything is collapsing. Even when the people who are supposed to be seeing it are not seeing it. But you can see the negative impact in all the critical areas, even the education you mentioned, when you said people are being given scholarship to go to school.
Student loans.
Student loans. What is happening in our universities, Charles? Our universities now are politicized, where appointments for management of universities are now political. You now fail local government election, you're appointed on your university board, university governing board, where vice chancellors, they even have been appointed without merit and everything. And the consequences that you see universities now giving honorary degree to all manner of character of people. So even that is deteriorating.
His aides, and again, we have to balance the discussion, deny that there is any such threat to democracy. They say you're pulling the trigger on a non-existent gun and creating an unnecessary level of uncertainty where there is none. I wonder what your reaction is to that.
Charles, I said go to the people. It is not about me. I'm one with the people. They can say anything they like. You know, when you are in government, you claim anything. But I deal with the reality. The reality is that things are headed south. Go and check all indices of development anywhere. I've told you what is improving. Is our literacy level improving? Is our health condition improving? Even them that are in government don't even go to hospitals here. So that shows that it's not even improving. The same thing goes. Are people being pulled out of poverty? There's still hunger everywhere. Is the agricultural produce increasing? Is manufacturing increasing? No. So where is it?
So in the context of this high uncertainty with regard to democracy and the rule of law that you talk about, that suggests unpredictability and, you know, especially for international investors, which is something they do not like. They don't like unpredictability. They don't like the lack of the rule of law, because obviously it threatens their investments. And ultimately that has an impact from what you're saying on the economy, doesn't it?
That's it. Charles, the first thing you can say that you have a government is security of life and property, rule of law. These are intangible assets that you cannot ignore. It is critical. People go where there's law and order. Nobody goes where there's chaos. Where do you see the rule of law? You are here. You don't need to. I don't need anybody to tell you. You see it every day.
But I mean, quite a number of them have suggested that you should team up with Atiku Abubakar as his deputy with an agreement that after one term he will work to make you president. They say that without this alliance, both you and Atiku will lose in 2027. What is your reaction to that?
Charles, elections are won, elections are lost by the vote of the people. All these things you're talking and all these things people are talking is because we are not democratic. Charles, we are talking of working together for the sake of the country, not because of political posts. I've said it before.
But if you don't have political power, you won't be able to change the country.
Charles, agree with that. That's why I've always said, I'm not desperate to be president. I'm desperate to see Nigeria work. Charles, it is all these alliances, all these groupings that brought us to where we are today. Because people were blinded instead of seeing what they would do to make the country work, make the country productive, they were focused on wrestling power. What are we going to use the power to do?
Yeah, but you ran for office in 2023. You wanted to wrest power from
Yes,
the
because
APC.
I wanted to do something.
Right.
Charles, I wanted to do something. I wanted to use it. By now, you would have been seeing the impact on education visibly. And I'm not talking about people coming to say it in TVs. You will be seeing it visibly. I would have even been visiting the schools.
Well, that's why some of
the health. You would have been seeing the primary. We have over 70% of our primary care are not functional.
But that's
You
why
would have seen
that's why some of your supporters are saying that for you to make this happen, you have to be you've got to be positioned, they say, to win the presidency.
Don't say my support. Don't just say some of my followers. I want Nigerians to know it is about their country.
Indeed.
So many Nigerians today don't know where the next meal will come from. They don't know. Several people have been to hospitals where people can't leave the hospitals because they can't pay. We have less than 5% insurance, health insurance in this country, when comparable countries like Indonesia have 95%.
Yes, but you're not going to be able to change that unless you become president.
No, but the people have to know and know that this man can do it.
Well, the argument is that even if you win in 2027, you'll be forced or prevailed upon to hand over to the North after just one term in 2031, which will not be enough for you to fulfill these let me just make the point, these electoral promises. Whereas if you worked with a one-term Northern presidency in 2027, you'd be more likely to scale through in 2031, assuming the North keeps to the agreement. Does that sound like a reasonable proposal to you? Because you mentioned Yar'Adua, who came into office. He had to come into office before he started trying to change things.
Charles, the president that is there today, how many years has he stayed? 2 years. And you could see where we are. Look at the turn of things in 2 years. That means that you can change things in 2 years. If I was there in 2 years, Charles, that you would have seen considerable change. In critical areas, I would have tackled corruption head on. I would have reduced cost of governance. And you will see it. People will feel it. And those monies invested in critical areas. Our primary health care today, I told you, 70% are not functional. And we spent over 35 billion in conference center. Which conference? Who is coming for the conference? You need to invest your money properly. Just you have been seeing borrowed money invested in critical area. A country in Bangladesh with 148,000 square kilometers of land is producing about 60 million metric tons of rice. And us, with over 6 times that size of land, cannot do 10% of that. Charles, there's room here. You talked about devaluation of Naira. There's nothing wrong in devaluation. I would have done something. I would have allowed the Naira to float. But I would have done it in an organized manner. There will be productivity. The idea of devaluing your currency, allowing it to float, to be cheaper, is that you have productivity so you can export, so people can come and buy. But when you don't have productivity and you devalue your currency, it's double whammy because you have nothing to sell. So I would have injected money in productivity. Today, nobody is producing anything. Somebody told me a few days ago, said, oh, they've removed there's no more tax or this or some of the manufacturing inputs and everything. And all. I said, that's no. How can you manufacture? How can you do business when your interest rate is over 40%? One of the biggest costs of manufacturing today, cost of production today, is interest rate. Charles, nobody borrows money at over 40% to do a business that is straight. You can only borrow it. It's only government that is borrowing that amount of money at that cost. So you need to do the right things, and you can do it.
So what would be the thrust?
The president, the current president for 2027, that would be quite challenging. But it was very convincing listening to this gentleman, and I enjoyed it, his expose. And as we go along, I will let you know my own thoughts.
Okay, Chief. Let's start with some of the things or the remarks we got from there. One of the remarks we got, the political remarks, is to the fact that the PDP is literally dead. That's why, as we speak, Chief, we have 80-something lawmakers, both in the Senate and the House of Reps, have moved from the PDP to the APC. And one governor, one deputy, as well as other members, like in Delta State. And it has been a conversation we had for a very long time. And for them, they feel that besides the challenge you have in your party, it's also the part of the, in their own view, what the president is doing to win more people. What's your thoughts?
Let me be quite frank. I am happy he mentioned 3 issues: justice, fairness, and equity. It's a tripod that stabilizes any organization. Now, those who are jumping ship and going from PDP to APC, whether in the Senate, anywhere, to me, I see them as people who have no inner cement to hold their guts, and as people who have no moral fortification. They are double-minded dealers. Now, if you are going from one particular sport and you've been committed to that sport, you are elected to that sport, you are honored by the electorate for that sport. What has the opposition party done to attract you? Yes, we have our own internal crisis. And I am praying and I'm hoping that by the 27th, when we meet, we will reestablish this political Iroko tree in Nigeria. We have a system, we have a procedure, we have laws, we have analysis by which, processes by which you emerge and do this and do that. Looking at what is it that would have attracted them. Yeah, the governor of Kaduna centered his major discussion on the fact that when he was elected after swearing in, he said that he is governor of everybody. He is governor to service the people. He is governor to put smile on the faces of the people. And that the insurrection that had almost engulfed the whole of Kaduna State before has now reduced. And he gave reasons: development for the people, infrastructural development, educational development, agricultural development, putting smiles on the faces of these people. Is that what the APC party nationally has done? Look at Delta. These guys have no internal cement to hold their guts. What are they telling the people? You yourself, you mentioned that there is hunger in the land, and therefore there is anger in the land. So what is it that has attracted those people jumping ship, if not for personal aggrandizement? What have they done? I can see it. And he said, well, they've started, but they are not yet there. And so what is the attraction? As politicians, is it only for their own personal gain that they are looking at? What about the impact? What is democracy? is all about the management of the resources of the land for the benefit of the people. That is not what they have done now. And I am hoping that by the 27th of this month, we will meet, close the doors, and tell ourselves some home truths. Those who cannot abide by the rules and regulations of the party, we can throw them out. The NEC has the authority and the powers to do that. We should tell ourselves some serious home truths, come back to the position as laid down by the founding fathers of our party. All the things that he spoke about were put into consideration before we had the process of imagine as a president or this, or imagine as a senator or whatever. And it was PDP that divided Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones. The Northwest, the Northeast, the North Central, the Southeast, the Southwest, the Southwest, the South. So that, and they now divided Nigeria with the topmost 6 positions. So everybody, every zone, whether you are minority or majority, will go home with something you can tell to your people. And it was the manipulation, the interpolation of all this, trying to woo things to yourselves that caused this mayhem in the PDP. And we will put it right. So, okay, my brother, I don't see what, for me, and for a load of electorate, all right, they are waiting for the attraction. Right now, how do they pay the school fees of their children? How do they eat 3 meals a day, even 2 meals a day? When you are sick and you go to the hospital, who treats you? And how well do they treat you? And this insurrection, you know what has happened in the Northwest and in the North generally. Now they have exposed the young minds to education. And the first lesson I learned in school was education makes people easy to rule, but impossible to deceive. These young minds, I have a lot of political sons in the North. They have honored me, the Northern Youth Council. They came and said, Baba, look, we have gone to university. We have graduated. There is no future. There is no hope. There is no food. We have gone back to our Baba spots. And they see still all the so-called big wigs, running with bulletproof cars and whatever, and they look at it. What is the future? You said go to school. We've been there. No challenges. No future. And that's why they are reacting. Because, look, you know what? How can an illiterate derail a moving train? Is it possible? So I like the way he's doing this analysis. Let him open up. Tell themselves some serious home truth. The populace, the majority of those young minds are getting very agitated and angry. Yes.
All right, Chief. So let me see how many questions I can squeeze in. So we are missing the luxury of a solid opposition. What we have are lone voices, yours, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, because that's what democracy is supposed to be. We're supposed to have a formidable opposition. Now the big tent issue about shadow government and the controversy. So let's stay with your party and how to redeem things. Now, one of the things I want you to speak to, you can pick back on it to talk to other things within what we have. So the issue of, I saw 2 letters sent to INEC concerning who the governorship the governorship candidate rather of the People's Democratic Party.
Anambra.
Yes, Anambra, in Anambra that is taking place. I think one was signed by, in fact, I saw 2 letters emanating from the PDP. One was signed by Anyanwu, and then another Sam Anyanwu, and the other one was signed by another gentleman called Architect. I've forgotten his full name. But both letters had Umar Damagun signing side by side with them. What is the role of the acting national chairman in bringing stability? Is it that each side is forging his signature, or he's not able to hold the party, or is helpless in that situation?
the highest authority in our party is the National Convention. The next level of authority is the National Executive Committee of the party, and we are yet to meet. The National Working Committee of the party, it manages the day-to-day affairs of the party. Now, the Governors Forum, it's a pressure group, and a formidable pressure group. They had come up with these observations. They have come up with, certain suggested agenda for the NEC meeting. Now, somehow, they also called themselves and said, look, before we go to that NEC meeting, let us have, that's the Governors Forum with the former governors and the current seven governors, to make sure that there is this committee headed by Saraki to moderate the scenarios so that there wouldn't be further conflagration when we get to NEC. They wanted NEC. They would like to see the NEC being seamless, being peaceful, and being family-like. Now, this issue of who is signing one letter and all this should never have happened in normal circumstances. Now, these are these issues that would be debated, discussed at NEC. NEC is the final authority. So suggestions that they had made, I don't know why the acting national chairman signed on both sides. Maybe he was trying to ensure that he doesn't run foul of the law, because people said Anyanwu should have signed, and others said no, Anyanwu was not approved by the Governors Forum, and that the National Working Committee too was divided. Now, all these things, we have learned a lot of lessons watching them. Look, somebody like me, I spent 10 years at the national headquarters of our party. Elected, we were the first elected managers, the day-to-day managers of the party in 1999, December. And a load of shenanigans, a load of manipulation, people thinking, oh, you are much smarter. The rules are clear. The ground norm, very clear, explicitly laid down. But when you see people, because of personal aggrandizement, because of self-conceitedness, they start turning A over and trying to say A, B must be before A. All this rubbish will end by the 27th of this month by the grace of God. The important thing is that the Trump claimed that we may not have a candidate in Anambra if Anyanwu didn't sign. Others said it didn't make a difference whether Anyanwu signed or Kushedo signed. But at least the two letters are in and our candidate has been accepted. When we get to the 27th of this month, by the grace of God, the three major organs of the party will meet. The National Caucus of the party, which is a representation of each zone. I represent the Southwest zone in that caucus. Okay, we will meet. Then the Board of Trustees of the party will also meet. These are elders.
Okay.
These are the custodians. These are the people who own the assets and the liabilities of the party. They will also meet. Then NEC will meet. Whatever decision we make in NEC that day, will be final.
All right, Chief, thank you so much. We're looking forward to 27th to see how it plays out.
It will be well.
Okay, we're hoping to have the opposition, wherever that opposition is coming from. We're hoping to have it
absolutely.
For a good democracy.
And Nigerians are also waiting. Nigerians are waiting. They want to see how better this country can be managed.
Yes, because when the APC was in opposition, they gave us opposition. So we need that now to balance the democracy. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Chief, but
the Polybe defined it. Please take it on from there.
No, there's something the APC man said that is a little bit categorical. That is Ibrahim, the director of their publicity.
that if any man thinks that
he said if any APC member is speaking with him, he's referring to Atiku. If any APC member is speaking with him, they are probably stringing him along, as has happened repeatedly in the past. Each time he engages in coalition, he ends up losing. That's the pattern. Wow. This is strong mockery. But be that as
he said they are stringing him along.
Yes, I said that's the pattern. You know, we say that Atiku has been contesting since 33 years. This man is so...
That's Guinness Book of Records.
Yes, he's summarizing it and saying that's the pattern. And why that appears to be true, that, I mean, Atiku has always been losing, all his presidential bids have ended up in loss. I also think that APC people know that all APC members are not satisfied with the current government. After all, we have Dr. Babamed who resigned. We have, you understand me?
This other man that was speaking on the rise the other day.
So there's never a time you are going to think all your members are with you. APC shouldn't be surprised. I think they are just discarding this. This is a political thing. And sincerely, all these people that moved from PDP now to APC are now APC members.
Yes.
Do you think they are in tandem? Automatically, they have become APC blood? Come 2027, just before election, APC have to develop a human resource management system that has never been used in Nigeria before. Because now they have the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the very ugly
within
inside. So Atiku might not be telling lies. I don't think he is. When he said that doesn't mean he will not end up in the pattern that he was talking about. But I don't think Atiku was telling lies when he said some APC members are talking with them. You always have it. People, they are with you, but they are not with you.
I thought you used to like Atiku.
No, I'm only saying what happened. I'm only saying what Ibrahim said.
No, you now added your own. And I never that doesn't mean.
And I do not have any special like for Atiku anyway. I just have like Atiku like every other Nigerian. I have no special like for him because...
okay, I think I should leave you alone at this moment. Peter, I mean, look at what he said. He said this coalition is being formed from these major political parties and they're going to rescue the power from... Ahmed Bola Tinubu.
Yeah, as I've always said here, no single party in Nigeria can defeat this present government. There's need for coalition. And equally said here, who that will be on that ballot will determine the success or failure of that coalition. You don't bring a candidate that is not sellable. Somebody Nigerians don't have trust in to lead to be on the ticket. To fail. The attack on Atiku, I think they misunderstood him. They were like, APC is not part of this coalition. I think that's this guy mentioned. That's where you're wrong. Thank God Ibe came to clarify it. He didn't say APC as a party is part of this coalition.
Of course, it's members.
Yeah, it's members. And it will be foolhardy for them to think that they don't have disgruntled members. They are deceiving themselves. The truth means that this jumping into APC, they don't see the problem. To them, they're seeing only the gain. It is a major issue. These are cultural differences. These are people that have different opinions. These are people that have different ideology about how governance should be. They're all coming together. How are you going to manage all these differences? How are you going to harmonize this house? And after the presidential election, how are you going to share this ticket on the local and state levels? People have ambition. People have been in the APC for a while, waiting for your turn to contest, and some other people are coming in. So how are you going to manage all this infighting? There's going to be an explosion, whether they like it or not. It's going to happen. But the pot is more to contain the influence. To me, it is matter of time. We'll see it play out.
Now, I really want you to touch on a particular area.
Okay.
Now, if you look at it very well, as in very well, you find out that the elite in Nigeria have been captured into the APC. From the governors to the senators. The senators from Kebbi State went to Aso Rock. They came out and decamped. The wife of the president went to Delta. After he has left, the governor and everybody decamped. I mean, one by one, this capturing of Nigerian elite by the APC, of course, I've been told that the president will call you by himself and ask to see you. When you come out, you're gone. Do you think it will spell victory for APC?
You mean victory like for a political party in a long term?
For
election.
2027 election.
Okay, no, 2027 election is going to be something, I've always said that every election we learn new things.
Yes.
In 2027 election, there are lessons we will learn that we don't know today. Tomorrow is mystery. But that said, drawing from 2023 and building on it, the only error, because now I think they are setting themselves up for a failure. Why am I saying this? By the time you have some elite scattered in Labour, scattered in PDP, scattered in maybe SDP, all these other parties, then you have a fair fight, you as APC that is ruling. But if you absorb all the elite into APC, it's going to be a battle between the elite and the common people of Nigeria. And the common people will fight dirty. I think that, for example, let me come to Delta State now, for example. If this decamping or remains permanent, PDP people remains there, what you have said that all the people that have been flexing Nigeria since 1999, let's leave what happened before 1999. All the people that has been fleecing Nigeria dry, the people that has been making Nigeria dry, has now combined themselves in one suit. And that is what you are calling elite.
And if
these are not non-business people who have worked so hard and earned their living. These are not people who have invented anything. They are not even people who have been talking like this and become known or have offered their advice or their token to development of Nigeria. These are the people who have been making Nigeria dry, and you are not gathering them together. Who are the elites? How did they become elites? As against Nigeria, because there is going to be election in 2027. So by the time you make it, the rich or the elite in quote versus the people will fight dirty. When I mean dirty, they will vote in Delta. If somebody like P2B is on ticket, Delta will almost get up to 85-90% for him, the way it is, because they will vote with anger, they will vote with animosity. So why not? I don't think it's the smartest thing, but we are told and that our president is a very great strategist. Let's see how it works, because we've never seen this type before. Maybe until after 2027 we would know whether we were right or wrong. The only thing wrong with the election of P2B the last time was counting of the vote, and if they take charge of that counting of the vote, which they can achieve by probably using the coalition that El-Rufai is doing in SDP, if they can use that, they are going to be very balanced, and 2027 can be a surprise to us.
Peter, do you think so?
Yeah, I believe so. Even Okongo said it one time when he's giving an interview. He said, having a victory and securing a victory are two different things. So he indirectly implied
the counting of the vote.
No, yes, that probably a Labour won, but did not secure the victory. So coalition is the key way forward. Well, having said that, this government still have 2 years to prove us wrong by achieving their mandate.